Good morning, everyone. Myself, Anamika Singh. On behalf of Biofootprints, it's my pleasure to welcome you all. As we all know that Biofootprint is not for profit society which aims at science promotion and popularization in the society, specifically to the general public. Moving forward, we are fortunate and glad to have Dr. S.K. Varshney, Scientist G and Head International Cooperation Division, Department of Science and Technology, India. Now I request Surbi to welcome our today's speaker with a bouquet of flowers. Please, sir. Now I request Professor Sujata Sharma, the founder and president of Biofootprint, to kindly introduce our speaker. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Anamika. Let me first thank our speaker, Dr. S.K. Varshney, for joining us here. And let me introduce Biofootprints to you. This is a society which aims at promoting science communication, and we promote science in society in order to bring some scientific temperament in the society. The reason why we founded this society was when during COVID times we realized that in the amongst the lay people there is absolutely no knowledge about science. They did not even know what is a virus and what is a vaccine, etc. So that is when we some doctors and scientists got together, and we thought that probably that we need to give something back to the society. We have got wonderful education from our country. We have got so much from our country. Now it is time to give something back without expecting anything from anywhere. It's just our, spirit that makes us do so. So after introducing the society, I will now introduce our renowned speaker. What I really was so impressed was when I asked him to tell me something about himself. The first few sentences that he used was that he is a science learner and he believes that science could be explained in simple words. Usually, when we ask our speakers to send some some words about themselves, they introduce themselves with very illustrious designations and prestigious awards. Of course, he's somebody who's very well known. He's got an illustrious career, but what I was really impressed was that he first says that he's a science learner, which speaks volumes about our speaker. This just speaks about his humble spirit, his absolute need to be a humble learner of science all his life, and that has impressed me most about you. Professionally, he works for science promotion. He's engaged in building bridges, creating mechanisms for international science partnerships in basic and applied sciences, industrial R&D to encourage innovation, content with an eye on new and emerging technologies. He is currently advisor and head International Cooperation Division of the Department of Science and Technology, that is DST, and he encourages bilateral, multilateral, regional, and thematic cooperation. He writes research articles on policies for international science cooperation and popular science articles in various newspapers and magazines. And with this, I welcome Dr. S.K. Varshney again. Please, sir, come and enlighten all of us. There are a few here, and there are many more who are right now listening to us on live. So I welcome you.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata ji, my good friend Munishi, all participants, sir, and also all those who are listening to me online. First of all, namaskar, and I hope you have a good day today. And what I have been asked to talk to you is what is the importance of science. So, can I have my presentation? So, what I will try to talk to you is why science communication is needed. And actually, there are a lot of misconceptions. And misconceptions are that when scientists are meaning apples, people may feel oranges. Okay. And that is because of complexity of the languages we are using. You might have seen, if you are a student of biophysics, talk to a fellow who works in nuclear medicines or who works in gastroenterology. You can't understand each other abbreviations also. Okay. And it is so pathetic when you are talking to the masses. Okay. So my whole presentation is based on why there are gaps and what are the things which, as an educated mass of the society, you can talk to the common man. First of all, we should not forget who pays for science. In this country, we say 70% of the research money comes from the government. And where does government get it from? Okay, until we realize that thing, so there are other players like industries, NGOs, engines, organizations, but they are very limited. Most of the research is being supported by public funds. Okay, so your fellowship, my salary, or somebody else earning, it comes from taxpayers' money. Okay, this is first thing you should always keep it in mind, because until you have that realization that who pays my salary, you won't become responsible. For example, if you are getting fellowship, you are answerable to your professor. Okay, but you should understand from where professor is getting, okay, and whom he or she is answering. And if we get that feeling, that becomes very important. And then the taxpayer or the ordinary person who is supporting our science, how much he is getting it back. You see, you are still fortunate you are in such an institute, prestigious institution. But outside this institute, government is asking return on investment. On any investment they make, what is the return? What you are giving back to the society? And what society is understanding of your work? Unfortunately, in our country, this is not a case. Now, realizing that I am in AIIMS, I thought if I could think of a conversation between a doctor and a patient. Today patient is not like yesterday's patient. When I say yesterday, let us say 20 years back, 30 years back. 90% of today's patients have done enough research through Wikipedia, Google, and whatnot. Okay, they have already studied their symptoms and inferred what disease they are carrying. Okay, and they just want to come to hospital only for endorsement. Yes, you are right. Okay, because doctors really are useless. We have better doctor electronically. Okay, so patient has to be consoled. Patient has to be told. But unfortunately, in most of our places, story is different. Doctors either do not have time or do not have zeal or do not have excitement to talk to the patient. And in some time they may also say, doctor, tu hai main hu. That is also possible. Okay, this is a scenario in a setup like yours. Imagine what is happening outside in other field. You want to take some service from any field, how service provider treats you. Okay, whether that fellow is providing you full information, what kind of service he or she is going to give you. And if not, who is responsible? Because everyone feels I am the professional of my field. I have the best knowledge. and you are only user, and user has very limited or sufficient knowledge, and limited user should only know this is my problem, this is my answer. What goes in between, nobody should know. Now, question is, do people understand science? I think Sujata ji answered it already, but I had just some medical terms which people realized during COVID. Okay, it's not that they don't understand, but there was no necessity to understand. So now, after COVID, people are aware what is DNA, what is RNA, simple things, what is PCR. Okay, earlier people were not concerned, so they were not knowing it. Simple as that. CT value for your scan. Okay, antibodies, lot of discussions. What was antibodies? Also, if you go outside it, the people were there, some pundits were there who were predicting how the COVID wave will go. So mathematical modeling, and mathematical modeling led to linear and exponential growth. Okay, so people have started understanding this thing. And then what is flattening of curve? So this is all what we have learned from COVID, immunity and yoga. My simple point is, people are willing to understand, provided either they are forced to learn or they are willing to learn. Okay, our people, common people, are not of the kind who cannot understand. They can. Only thing is, they need some more encouragement, some more push, and they can do it. They have learned these things, and so many other things they learned during this period, of course. And it's not limited to only medical sciences or COVID, but so many other things people are learning. And then how are we communicating? This is something very interesting. Science cannot survive without communication. That is for sure. If you are not disclosing what kind of work you are doing, your work is confined to your laboratory. So you must express, you must share. And what is the basic rule of science? Everybody is in a position to replicate the experiment and make same observation. Inferences could be different. Okay, but basic thing is it should be replicable and it should be same observation be made by other fellows. Okay, that is fine. But how do you come until you tell people? So what people are doing, people are publishing research articles, okay, in various journals. And that is very good. Because it gives them credit, it gives them recognition, it realizes that, okay, you are domain expert. But to how many people they can reach? You are sitting in AIIMS. Suppose you are in biophysics department. How many of your professors are talking to other departments, which is outside the confine of your subject? And suppose an AIIMS doctor has to talk to an engineer. How much the conversation will go? Even simple things within your subject. Where do we get new knowledge? From the research journals, what people have done. How long it takes to come to your master class? Forget bachelor, master class. And the time taken for conversion of new knowledge from a research paper to the textbook is around 10 years. It could be more in some cases, but 10 years minimum. So, when we are talking about InReach, we are talking about very, very select group of people, very few people. And outreach is the largest thing. Okay, so that if you can explain it to your mother, what did you learn today in the institute? That is outreach. If you can explain it to your colleagues in other departments, in other faculties, to a fellow who is totally unaware about biophysics, what kind of work you are doing, that is outreach. If you could convert your thought into common man language, that is outreach. And it's not very difficult. In fact, I would urge each one of you to think for a moment what kind of studies you are doing, for whom, who will get benefited. Try to talk to those fellows who are going to become ultimate beneficiary of your work. Take question from that fellow. That fellow will give you better questions than your professor can give. I'm sorry. Because suppose my friend is suffering from this problem. What are his challenges? He will know it better. Of course, doctors with the help of some instrument could study it minutely, internally what is happening, and could give better prognosis, diagnosis, treatment. But then his own experience are of immense value. And that is the power of outreach. Now, when we come to our own country, there are several subjects people are speaking. Okay, the most popular subject is politics. Everybody is at ease. What a particular political party has done in a particular state or particular city or particular. Okay, not only national, we are also good at international politics. We can talk anything. Sports. Of course, I have used the cricket picture, but any sports, be it football, we are completely at ease, even if we don't understand fully. Okay, I can tell what was the mistake Tendulkar did or Dhoni did. Okay, even though I may not be playing it, but I can pinpoint. Okay, people are talking about Bollywood so easily. Okay, because it takes no efforts. People are talking about crime. Okay, because this is a subject everybody is concerned with. If it has happened in one place, it should not happen in my place. You are concerned. You are talking about economy. Okay, so we talk various countries, what they are doing, how they are doing, and how they could do it. But who is talking about development? At the most, you may be talking about development in your own subjects. Are you talking about development in other subjects? Are you aware how the social dynamics have gone during COVID? Are you aware how the economy went? Because we presume they are not of direct concern to me. Okay, what about common? And because we are not discussing it, you see, other subjects, as I mentioned, even if we are not involved, you, I, he, she may not be involved in politics or sports, but we still discuss because we understand a bit. We may not be understanding it fully, but still we discuss. But development is one such thing we don't understand and we don't talk. And that is a challenge. And because of that, you are buying the product which have been poisoned in your market. Okay, you are not, for example, you go to buy burger. You always think McDonald's, big burger. Okay, you want soft drink, you think Coke, Pepsi. Why? Please look in your own home. Ask yourself, what are the Indian products in your home? Television, mobile phone, washing machines, oven, anything. And why you have not bought Indian products? Either they are out of your reach or you don't have confidence. Only two things. And this is because As I mentioned in the previous slide, we are not discussing about development. We are not telling about our research to the masses. How people will gain confidence? Of course, at government level, several attempts have been made, like National Science Day, we open it for the public. CSIR has started 1 week, 1 lab program, but still we are not going to the masses. 1 week, 1 lab program is also limited, or National Science Day program is also limited to newspaper, because people see it in the newspaper, feel happy, okay, it's done, but how many are going? How many are participating? If we want our people to believe in Indian brands, it is important we tell about research that is behind that product. And until we explain that, people will not gain confidence in our products, and we may not be buying it. Okay, it's not only home, even your lab. You can see how many of them are imported equipment and how many are Indian equipment. And it's not Indian products are not there, but and when I say poisoning the market, it's very simple thing is the water. Drinking water at your home. You have been made to believe that unless you process it at your own home, you can't drink. So some people have used water filters, some people have used RO or some process at home, even though the water supplied by municipality is already treated. But this is called poisoning. How you are poisoned. So your mind is already full that, okay, only this product unless you are not safe. Another taboo is that if you don't speak English, you can't learn science. Okay, so our higher educational institutions, whether AIIMS, IIT, NITs, universities, none of them goes for higher education in science, engineering, and medicine in their local language. Another challenge. And if you can't speak that language, if you can't speak English, you can't go deeper. And this is something very important, because whatever work you are doing, it is your responsibility to tell it to your people in your language. So that is why I always feel that conversation with parents, conversation with sibling is very important, because that is where you can explain what are the new things you did. Okay, and unless we go in our own languages, majority of our people cannot participate. Okay, there are number of issues which we are trying to address in science policy, and one of them is this. Second is, most of our educational institutions, normal universities, engineering universities, medical universities, they are all in urban location. And what happens to the person who is from rural background? Okay, we can make some reservation, but we are not making them natural facilitations that they should come and join higher stream. So that is where communication is required. You need to be put full. And then issues like COVID, as I mentioned a little ago, we grow up in subject vertical. Like I have studied geology, you have studied biophysics, somebody has studied chemistry, mechanical engineering, geography, physics. Okay. And we are not talking to each other. And we always see any challenge only from our perspective. Okay. So my question to you is whether COVID was only a medical challenge? It was not only a medical challenge. It was a challenge for our economy. It was a challenge for psychology, social perspective. Okay, pharmaceutical chemistry, who did the work to develop new medicines, engineering, logistics, that it could go to nook and corner of the country. Question is, unless we grow out of subject vertical, it is not possible to address any challenge wholesomely. And for that, we need to regularly converse with people from diverse backgrounds. We need to understand what is happening. And then we need to convey people what are the diseases. For example, in recent times, lot of diseases have come from animals. COVID is one, of course, avian flu, swine flu, so many other things, foot and mouth diseases. Same way from plants. We get so many diseases. But whether our people are aware about it, can we tell them how to prepare themselves so that they don't get it? And these are not so uncommon. But problem is our people are not fully aware. And we need to educate them that this is how you can help yourself. Simple advice. Okay, to wear mask gives you a lot of confidence. This is just one example. There are several other things what you can do to generate confidence. But here in this case, this mask gives you confidence. Even if you are ill, you are not gifting it to others. Okay, that kind of confidence it is giving. So, an advice in different fields, of course, I will discuss a little later what are those different fields, but it could make a change. It is possible very easily. Now, I'm sorry, there is some mix up. Sorry, okay. Some mix up has happened. Here, what I was trying to say, that discipline is the key. And unless we follow discipline, we can play with our body. And in this particular case, what has happened, we have got a lot of lifestyle diseases, which could be corrected. Medication is the last thing which is needed in any of these. And better living style could probably answer it. But are we telling it to the masses? And in what, how forcefully we are telling it? So this is something we need to think of. Then India is home to 5-star hospitals. Lot of medical tourists we are attracting from around the world, especially from Europe, America, people come here for treatment. But those hospitals are not available for common men. Okay, so we need to work for those people how they can get treatment. Of course, government has started one good thing. They are stressing more on generic medicine rather than trademarked medicines. Okay, just to minimize the cost. But we need to see how we can minimize even the screening or testing. Why? Today what has happened, if you go to a doctor, especially in a private hospital or in a private clinic, the fellow will recommend you n number of tests. Now, you don't know if you need it or you don't need it. And you have no choice because doctors have written and you have to get it done. And there are some other dynamics behind the scene which demands doctors to write so many tests. And doctors will give you a fear. If you step out of the hospital, we are not responsible. As if you are inside the hospital, they are responsible. Even then, they are not responsible. Issue is, I am not denying their professionalism, but there are some market dynamics also. Okay, and we need to be careful. If we could explain the patient, this is a problem you have got, and you can correct it. These are tests required for such and such purpose. People will, but imagine outside metro life in our few bigger cities, in smaller cities, people can't afford huge monies. It's really difficult. And even several district headquarters do not have adequate facilities. We need to see how our people are getting treatment. And best way is if we could communicate to them, we could tell them, this is your problem, this is the improvement you require in your lifestyle, this is the improvement you require in your food intake, this is the improvement you require in terms of air and water qualities. And then, of course, we have got a lot of learning from the natures. This is the picture of the bullet train. Have you ever wondered why engine is shaped like this? Is it similar to that of an aeroplane? The front part. Because this is what aerodynamics require. You need to cut the air. Okay? And from where it comes? Simple. So if we could learn from the nature how things are done. Okay. For example, burrows make their home. This lizard has got these sticks. It can stick anywhere. So now mountain climbers are using it. So there are so many things in nature which we have converted into commercial products because we trying to understand, replicate what is the best way of taking it forward. Then also communication required. That depending upon your geographic location, you all must be prepared. For example, if you are living in a vulnerable area vulnerable to earthquake, area vulnerable to landslides, for example, Himalaya, then you should know how it feels when earthquake comes and how you should conduct yourself when there is such a situation. Okay, of course, in those areas we are not having lifts, so people need to walk down. People need to be away from the area which is being affected. Okay, sometimes there is flash flood, cloud burst. People don't get even time. But we need to educate them. There are some other cases where we get times. For example, we know area which are vulnerable to floods, area which are vulnerable to drought, area which are vulnerable to cyclones. But there we get adequate time. Adequate time does not mean 2 months, 3 months. That of course we know and forget every year. We realize it only when the weather department tells us. Tomorrow, heavy rainfall. There would be floods in Hajj Khas. We understand, yes. But situation is much difficult. Several villages get drowned. We lose so much of our agricultural produce. And we need to prepare ourselves. And this is where communication can help. Now I'll tell you something very important. We have a center, an institute like AIIMS, which is called Indian National Center for Ocean Information. And it tells about the physical parameters of ocean every 10 kilometers. Okay, what is the turbidity, what is the turbulence, where are the fish schools, where are likely to be disturbances, if tsunami is expected, or any of those kind of things. And all our eastern coast, it works. From Bengal, Orissa, Telangana, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, everything is covered. And our fishermen get that information on their mobile. Okay, so they need not to worry. So if it is predicted that today ocean would be rough, they need not to venture out. So through communication, we could prepare them for the eventual natural anything. So actually this is something I wanted before this, my food slide, but I think food slide will come now. This is what we are eating. And why we are eating? Because we have forgotten. When did you read about the balanced food? In your primaries. In college life, it was not important. So you shifted to junk food for variety of reasons. Okay. आज टाइम नहीं है. आज असाइनमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है, आज ये करना है, आज खाना बनाने का मन नहीं है. So easy option is call Zomato and get your something. This is what leads to the problem. Of course, that slide came a little earlier, so I'm sorry for the mix-up. But idea was we need to be disciplined. Food is a major cause for most of our illness, and also for our health, also for our immunity. And if we are irresponsible towards our food, you can imagine what damage we are doing to ourselves just by being lazy. And the question is that we need to have food for everyone. Now you must have a realization and must share it with all concerned. Today, India is the most populous country in this planet. We are more than 1.4 billion. Okay. Two other processes are happening: industrialization and urbanization. And at whose cost? At the cost of agriculture, agricultural land and agricultural workforce. So the challenge is double-sworded. At a time when number of mouths to be fed are increasing, our agricultural land and agricultural workforce is coming down. So how long we can survive on this equation? Until we apply some technologies. And those technologies, what it could be? We can go for vertical farming. We can go for more yield per hectare. We can reduce our post-harvest losses. We could reduce losses of perishable. We could increase shelf life of our product. We could have better supply chains. So there are a lot of technology at play. Okay. And unless we tell people about them, today 60% of India lives in villages. And unless those people are aware, a lot of things are going to rot right over there. And this is the job of each one of us to make them apprise of our challenges. Then, when we are talking about food, a lot of us depend upon variety of foods. This example is, of course, those who are depending upon food from sea or food from river. So what is happening? A lot of plastics, microplastics, is going into our oceans, eaten by the fish, okay, and then eaten by us. So who is eventually consuming plastic? Human being. Similarly, if you see on the land, see our stray animals, even cow, खाना जो बचा हुआ खाना है वो प्लास्टिक में बांधा ऐसे दे दिया, and cow will eat that food with the plastic, and that cow somebody will be milking, and that milk we would be taking. So again we are getting exposed to microplastics, another threat to our health. We need to tell people how we could prevent this thing. Until few years ago we were very safe. Okay, then came the radio towers and then the mobile towers. We have got waves of so many unseeable electromagnetic waves, and we don't know what would be the impact. Of course, after 50 years, somebody will do research, will find out. But today, we are not restricted to here. We are carrying electromagnetic wave with ourselves through our mobile. Okay, and now people are doing research where you should keep your mobile. In pocket here, in pocket on your bag or in your purse, but wherever you keep it, these waves are around you. And if these waves are around you, what kind of impact it has on your body? That you must understand. Okay, must realize. So mobile does two damages. One is, of course, electromagnetic waves, and second is the night uses. Especially when I see the youngsters, I feel concerned Many of them in dim light or no light are using mobile. Okay, and this is absolutely unwarranted. It has to be avoided. Please educate in your family that unless light is full, you don't see your mobile. You are doing irreparable damage to your eyes. Then a lot of financial technologies are there. Now, till yesterday, if I need money, I need to go to the bank where I had an account. Okay. And then came the ATM. But again, I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but in the beginning, ATM, you can go only to your bank. So, which means you were given flexibility that you are not restricted to draw of money from your own branch, but from any machine of that particular bank. And then they started cartel, which means 4 or 5 banks will join hands, and then within that system, you can draw money. Today, you can go to any ATM and you can draw money from your account. This is possible. Also possible is direct payment transfer. Okay, so a lot of things are happening. But what is coming as a gift? Cyber frauds. Okay, so many of us are not even familiar how it is happening. And people are just sharing information. Okay, yesterday I was seeing a Radio Mirchi video. So the RJ calls a family, creates a panic scene that your son or your daughter has been caught by the police, and this fellow is asking for this information, everything he takes up. And then he asks, why are you sharing this information? Because we get panicked. And we just want to provide. And then we realize it much later what has happened. So, both technologies, the financial technologies are improving, cyber fraud technology are also improving. And we need to educate, communicate people how we can best make use of financial technology and how we can best avoid from getting cybercrime. Now, India is energy deficient country. We do not get 24-hour electricity everywhere in the country. In fact, I'm a bit shameful that being a government employee, I have to admit it. There are still many villages where we don't have national grid. They don't get electricity from the national grids. It's a challenge. In many parts of the country, electric supply is less than 8 hours a day. Okay, what we are trying to do, we started with solar energy, then hydro energy, then we came with the nuclear energy. There were a lot of social resistance to adopt nuclear energy, especially because people have heard stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, and people don't want to get repeated. Unfortunately, we also had accidents. Chernobyl. How many of you remember Chernobyl? You have heard? Good. Fukushima? Yes. Fukushima was recent. So people remember the accidents. Which was the biggest accident in India? Industrial accident? Bhopal. Because you can't see that gas which is coming. Okay. So we need to prepare ourselves. Now, of course, in terms of energy, we did not go forward with the nuclear program. We converted our energy now to renewable. But what tomorrow is going to be? Tomorrow is going to be that each household has to produce energy. Only then we can meet the requirements. The energy would be transferred both ways. For example, now I am at work, so whatever energy my home will produce will go to the grid. In the evening, when I am home, I need many appliances to be open. I will draw it from the grid. So both way communication. Also, it would be mixing of energy. So your thermal energy, hydro energy, electric, this wind energy or renewable, everything would be mixed and given to you in the form of electricity. Okay, and we need to get educated. We need to tell people how we are going to do it. Water. Water has several challenges. Since you are from AIIMS, you understand better arsenic problem, fluoride problem. Okay, different kind of, I should say, microbes in the water. Because in India, most of the water in outside area, be it river, lake, pond, is open. And when it is open to everything. And some part of our soil gives to additional problem like fluoride, arsenic, those kind of things. So we need to educate our people how to consume water. Also, the second challenge is, one is of course this particular part. Second is those who are living in close proximity to any industrial houses. So a lot of leaching, chemical leaching is happening. Okay, if you go to a mine town or those things, a lot of issues are there. Again, that need to be told to the society. Water, of course, 70% of the earth is covered by water, but when we are talking about fresh water, it is very limited. And we need to make best use of it. So this is something to be communicated to the people. And then our own earth, I think for delight, is not a very difficult thing to understand why earth is crying. But earth is. We simply say it is climate change. Climate change is not new to the earth. It has been happening in geological past also. It is pollution which we have created. And why we have created? We have created it for our own reasons. And we can address it. We can correct it. Okay. COVID was one example when we saw very clear days in Delhi also. Okay. You could see miles and miles. But again, we have returned back to our practices. And this is something we need to tell to masses how we can correct. Also, we need to tell about our achievements to the people. So, India was asking for a supercomputer for weather prediction, which America denied, CREXM. And India answered it by developing Param. Now, how many of you are aware about Param? And how much market it has gained across the globe now? And this is how we should be proud of our products and take it forward. And then, of course, a lot of new emerging technologies are emerging. We need to see how those technologies could be applied in our own domains. So, for example, I am talking about energy efficient building. So, apart from rooftop, even the window pane should be solar absorber. They could produce directly absorb the heat and light from the sun. We could have more plants, and smart bricks could be there. So everything could get converted into super capacitor. Internet of Things, another major thing which is going to change our life, and we should see how we are applying it on our purposes. Artificial intelligence has reached everywhere. Okay, now I remember a very small anecdote which I will like to share. All of you must have used railway services. So when you book your ticket, system will not give you a ticket in a coach you may feel preferred. Okay, because it has to distribute the load. So it will give first reservation in one central coach, then front coach, back coach, central coach, front coach, back coach. Keep on. This is artificial intelligence. But what happens when the train moves on the platform? You board the compartment which comes before you. That is human intelligence. Okay. So you are not bothered about how much load is there, but you just board it. But today, artificial intelligence have reached every field. For example, in medicine, earlier it was only the experience of doctor of having seen n number of patients with a particular disease Today, machine can give and share information about many more. Okay, and you can synthesize the result much faster. Well, of course, this growing age of 5G technologies, communication is becoming easier, and we are taking even the flights, space flights. Blockchains, another marvel which you need to understand. Robotics, only difference is robotics doesn't have heart and it works on your command. So it doesn't have brain, it doesn't have heart. And human, because they have both of them, the weakness is heart can get emotional and mind can get active even in the midway, which robots want. Biometrics, I think you all know. These are the new emerging sciences about which not only you have to make more and more use, but also tell people how those sciences are helpful. Okay, now even 3D printing, we are producing artificial organs. So that is happening. Visual reality, augmented reality also helps you, and then the drones. I think now I'm coming to the last part. One, you should be very careful about information and communication. We are using them just interreplacing each other's, but they are not interchangeable. They are different things. And lot of time information is given to us to mislead us. Okay, we have got even WhatsApp University, which shares you a lot of information on these subjects. And that kind of information has to be avoided. You should know what is good information, what is not so good information, and accordingly correct. There could be difference in perspective. So whenever somebody is talking to you, for example, I may have one perspective, you may have another perspective of the same thing. So you need to keep it in mind how anybody views it. Okay, take any situation. If faculty will have one perspective, a student may have another perspective. Be careful why you are doing. So I have now put some how you can make the communications. Of course, cartoons are one which is very effective tools which you can do. I would read a book from Madam, so which is another good way. How just by telling stories you can tell how what is the science. Drama, cartoons, drama, movies. Okay, they give you lot of imagination, lot of creativities. For example, before the Jurassic Park came, how many of you have thought that there was a species which ruled the world? Okay, and how they could have threatened us if we were coexisting? Okay, and why nature chose us to be in different times, that is another question. But idea is these excite your curiosity. Now the last part, what are the new things we are doing in government to promote science communication? One is AFSR. I think this is a scheme good for each one of you, where we are encouraging PhD students, postdoctoral students to write about their work in common man language. So if you could explain it to the masses, what are the work you are doing, you become first generator communicator. It is entirely possible because you know the scientific terminology of your work. You need to make it common man's terminology. We have also started translating Wikipedia science pages into 5 Indian languages. Okay, and how we are doing it? We are picking up Wikipedia science pages, doing the machine translation, giving it to experts to rewrite it with Indian content in Indian language. Okay, so that our people could understand. People in my generation have grown up learning British examples. That is our unfortunate part. We didn't know our own country, but we knew England very well. Okay, and for example, when I was reading the poem Going to the Woods, I didn't realize it until I went to the Europe, because here we are not going to the woods. So So our idea is, if we could put the content of Wikipedia science pages in our language, our people will read it more easily. And if they are with the Indian content, Indian examples, that makes them better to understand. We have also started Science OTT channel. So lot of program, lot of content is being developed, curiosity driven. We have also talked to channels like Discovery, if they could come up with their ideas how we could take it to the masses. Because this is where even cartoon birds we are talking, how they could add science content in their cartoons. Of course, on television, there are some special. I remember when in India, we started with television somewhere in 80s. It used to be a 2-hour program. And out of those 2 hours, half an hour was science. Because science we were discussing was Krishi Darshan. So science was even there. Because government of that time thought, since majority of us, we are a farming country, so people should know about farming practices. So they started a program, Krishi Darshan. Of course, very few people were used to see, like me, I was never interested. But then now I realize how important that program was. And then we should create our own role model. For example, in cricket, we have got Tendulkar, Dhoni, we have got in politics, I would not like to name anybody, but there are several heroes. Who is the hero in science? It's a very difficult question because we have not shared the story of Vikram Sarabhai, Homi Bhabha, okay, Asima Chatterjee, Meghna Saha, J.C. Bose. Why we have not converted them into role model? It's time. Thanks to Buddha Ismail, people respect Dr. Kalam. Okay, so he is one role model. Other thing I can feel, people feel happy as a role model is launching of our space satellite. That also excites them. That also gives a lot of feeling of patriotism. Yes, we did it. But what about other sciences? We need to develop our own role models and then take it forward. We have also created a platform. Now, anything new you are doing and you find that it may not be accepted even by a journal or something, use this platform. Okay, this takes your work to the masses. And then we have brought out a document called Scientific Social Responsibility. In some country, I understand it also comes with financial liability. Like 1% of your money, whatever AIIMS gets, must go for science communication. Okay. Of course, in India, there is no financial restriction, but then each institute, each faculty is being asked that you have a scientific social responsibility, much on the line of corporate social responsibility, that you should act and communicate science to the masses. Now, just last slide. So, science communication offer opportunity to define substantially role, how science can improve the society. Also, society to make best use of scientific knowledge, what is available, and then generate scientific society's perception of research. Because unless you do that, as I said earlier, your products won't sell. And then confidence of society in new technology products. So with this, I would like to close. Thank you for your time, and I would appreciate if any of you have any questions.
Your presentation was so clear.
No, I tried to make it as simple as I could have done. Yeah. So thank you very much, and I give it back to Sujata ji.
Thank you so much, Dr. Varshney. I always feel that a person can be a great scientist, a great doctor, but that doesn't mean that he'll be a very efficient science communicator as well. Because you could be really very well skilled, but Science communication is just another realm altogether. In that, you have to connect to the person in front of you. You have to speak in a language that he or she understands, and you have to paint pictures that he or she is able to see. It has to be a shared vision. And I must say that in this lecture, we were all enthralled. We were literally hypnotized, you know. Yeah. Like usually what happens is that when the lecture starts, everybody's enthusiastic, but as the speaker goes on, I see that, you know, this happens universally all over the world, a flagging of interest. But in this case, what I saw was that everybody was interested from the beginning till the last moment. You know, you have such a gift for science communication, and you've inspired all of us so much to reach out to each other, because you know what we usually say is reach out to the society, but what Dr. S.K. Varshney has said, start with your with the colleagues sitting next to you, start with the next department and slowly reach out. So that is a very, very important lesson amongst many others that he has shared with us today. And thank you so much. It is a great honor for Biofootprints. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so for enlightening us with such a great speech, such a great talk. Now, that talk should not have ended. I didn't want that to end. But on the behalf of everyone present here and all our online viewers, I would like to thank Sir for enlightening us. And I would also like to thank Professor Sujata Sharma and Biofootprint Foundation for arranging such a lecture. Lastly, I would like to and allow me to invite you all for some refreshments and continue our go of the book. Thank you, sir.